Most people think the only way to save $10,000 is to earn more money. Get a raise, start a side hustle, work overtime. And while earning more helps, that's not why most people fail to save. The real reason has nothing to do with income, and everything to do with behavior. Because right now, there are people making $45,000 a year who manage to stack cash, and people making $120,000 who live paycheck to paycheck. The difference isn't opportunity, it's psychology. If you've ever told yourself, I just don't make enough to save, this might completely change how you look at money. Let's start with something uncomfortable. Saving $10,000 fast is not a math problem first. It's an emotional problem. Most people don't have a savings issue. They have a spending identity. They see themselves as someone who enjoys comfort, convenience, upgrades, small rewards. And those small rewards feel harmless. A few subscriptions. Food delivery twice a week. A slightly nicer apartment. A car that stretches the budget just a little. Nothing extreme. But here's how money actually leaks. Not in giant dramatic purchases. In tiny repeated decisions that feel justified in the moment. Your brain runs on dopamine. Dopamine doesn't spike when you move money into savings. It spikes when you buy something new. When you click order now. When the package arrives. When you imagine how something will improve your life. Saving money feels like loss. Spending feels like gain. Even if saving builds your future and spending delays it. So if you try to save $10,000 using pure willpower, you will probably fail. Not because you're weak, but because you're fighting biology. Instead, you need strategy. Let me tell you about someone I'll call Marcus. Marcus made $62,000 a year. Not broke, not rich, just average. He told himself for years he couldn't save more than a few $100s at a time. Every month something came up. Car repairs, birthdays, trips, sales, life. Then one day he checked his bank account and realized he had less than $1,000 saved at 29 years old. That scared him. Not dramatically, just quietly. The kind of fear that sits in your stomach. He decided to run an experiment. Not to earn more, but to treat saving like a game. First, he stopped focusing on $10,000. That number felt overwhelming. Instead, he focused on the first $1,000. That felt achievable. He opened a separate high-yield savings account so the money wouldn't sit next to his checking account, tempting him. Distance reduces impulse. Out of sight, out of mind works in reverse too. When savings aren't visible daily, you're less likely to raid them. Then he did something simple but powerful. He printed out his last 3 months of bank statements. Most people avoid this step because it's uncomfortable, but clarity creates control. He circled every expense that wasn't essential. Not to judge himself, just to see patterns. And what he noticed shocked him. It wasn't one big problem. It was dozens of small automatic habits. Food delivery 3 times a week. Multiple streaming services. Random Amazon purchases under $40. Convenience store stops. Premium subscriptions he forgot about. None of them felt irresponsible alone. Together, they were costing him nearly $900 per month. That's over $10,000 per year. The first key to saving $10,000 fast is this: find your invisible leaks. Most people think they need sacrifice. What they really need is awareness. Next, Marcus didn't cut everything. That would trigger backlash. When you restrict too aggressively, your brain rebels. Instead, he picked 3 categories to attack hard and left the rest mostly alone. Housing, transportation, and food are the big 3. They dominate most budgets. He couldn't move immediately, but he could get a roommate when his lease renewed. That cut $600 per month. He refinanced his car and shopped insurance rates. That saved another $180 per month. He committed to cooking 5 nights a week. That saved roughly $400. Without earning a single extra dollar, he freed up over $1,000 per month. That's the power of structural changes instead of daily discipline battles. Saving $10,000 fast becomes realistic when you stop fighting tiny daily decisions and instead redesign your environment. Here's where most people get stuck though. Even after freeing up money, they don't automate it. They leave it sitting in checking. And money that sits around gets spent. Automation is your secret weapon. Marcus set up an automatic transfer the day after every paycheck. Not at the end of the month. Not if there's extra. Immediately. He paid himself first. Within 8 months, he had crossed $8,000. Something interesting happened around that point. Saving started to feel good. Remember dopamine? It adapts. At first, spending gave him the bigger emotional hit. But once his savings started visibly growing, the number itself became rewarding. Watching the balance increase created momentum. This is called the progress principle. Visible progress increases motivation. The first $1,000 is the hardest because there's no momentum yet. The first $5,000 builds confidence. By $8,000, you start thinking differently. You feel safer, less reactive, less desperate. And that emotional shift is huge. Because saving $10,000 isn't just about the number. It's about breaking the identity of I'm bad with money. Now let's talk about speed. If you want to hit $10,000 faster than a year, you need temporary intensity. Not permanent sacrifice. Temporary compression. This means for 90 days, you live intentionally below your normal lifestyle. No vacations, no upgrades. Fewer nights out. Sell unused items. Cancel unused subscriptions. Pick up a short-term weekend gig if necessary. Not as a lifestyle, but as a sprint. The key word is sprint. When your brain knows discomfort has an end date, it tolerates it better. Endless restriction feels like punishment. A 90-day challenge feels like a mission, and missions are motivating. Another powerful tactic is increasing friction for spending. Delete saved cards from online stores. Unsubscribe from promotional emails. Remove shopping apps from your home screen. Small barriers reduce impulsive decisions. Your brain often gives up when something becomes slightly inconvenient. At the same time, reduce friction for saving. Rename your savings account something meaningful like Freedom Fund or 10K Mission. Labeling increases emotional attachment. You're not just saving money. You're building stability. Here's something people don't talk about enough. Stress decreases when savings increase. When you have $200 in your account, every unexpected expense feels like a crisis. When you have $10,000, the same expense feels manageable. That reduction in anxiety changes your decision-making quality. You negotiate better. You say no more confidently. You think long-term, and ironically, once you hit $10,000, it becomes easier to grow to $20,000. Because now you've built systems. The truth is, most people could save $10,000 in 6 to 12 months without earning more. If they restructured their fixed costs, automated aggressively, and treated it like a focused mission instead of a vague intention. It won't feel glamorous. It won't be exciting at first, but it will be empowering. And empowerment compounds just like money does. If you've been waiting for a raise to start saving, stop waiting. Start redesigning. Because the fastest way to change your financial life isn't always increasing income. Sometimes it's proving to yourself that you're in control. I'm Brandon Invests, and if this helped you understand the psychology of finance, subscribe for more.